Hey LAN Party gamers, welcome to San Diego LAN CES coverage, CES 2020. We're here in the Silverstone suite where they've invited us out to take a look at what they're having in store for 2020. Now, as you know, they've given us almost every case that we use for our LAN parties, including all the Raven cases that our Ryzen system's in, and all of our new mid-tower cases that they helped us out with just earlier this last month. And now they're showing off some new cooling supplies, which are really exciting. And we're going to show you that in just a moment. They're new SFX power supplies with even more power than what they've had in the past in the same form factor and all sorts of things. So we're going to check out to see what they've got going on here at CES 2020. As you know, Silverstone's been well known for their SFX and SFXL power supplies, and this is no different coming from the SX300 you may have seen already out, but pretty much every other power supply on either side of me is new coming out in 2020 or thereafter. They're even excited to announce their new 1000 watt SFXL, same size as in my dual SLI 800 watt case, but with 1000 watts, fully modular. And if you upgrade from one Silverstone power supply to another, your cables will all work because they use the same pinout in every fully modular PSU. So you're able to go directly from one to the other and then use the cables from either or both kits. They're also releasing a fully fanless design here. This is a you might notice the 700 watt box is starkly different color than the rest. We've got a lot of black going on here, and that's because this is the heat sink for this fully fanless power supply. So as you feel it, it's quite chilly, and it does give off heat pretty well. So that's great for anybody looking to make a fanless or quiet kit. And lastly, in power supplies that we wanted to talk about are their extension kits. We've got 24 8-pin, 4x4 pin CPU power, as well as 6 and 8-pin PCI power for cable extensions. And this is to pretty up your case. You have your sort of rat's nest behind your motherboard or whatever, and then you've got these nice pretty cables. You can get cable combs for them, which are going to be sold separately, or you can 3D print your own. But they're going to be selling these extensions here on the side, so you can take whatever power supply you may have and use a Silverstone upgrade extension either to make a gap or to hide the original cable and just show off this new braided style cable. So brand new from Silverstone, they have something that's really exciting, and that's AIO water coolers with full RGB support, as you would imagine from anything coming out in 2020. This is the PF series ARGB. They've got 3 different styles. They've got a 120, a 240, and a 360 rad, and that's 1, 2, or 3 fans. They come with full RGB fans that are addressable, and you can even daisy chain them to each other and to the fan pump as well, and which is nice because if you don't have a motherboard that has addressable RGB, kind of like me, I've got a Z270 board. It has 4-pin RGB, but it doesn't have 3-pin addressable RGB. It includes a full RGB controller with preset buttons. So you can go through the different presets that they allow, or you can plug them all directly into your motherboard, and you only need the one plug to do so. So you're not wasting a bunch of RGB ports on your motherboard or all the ports on your existing internal controller. You can use all of them from one port, which is pretty cool. These are going to be coming out in 2020, and it's super exciting to see Silverstone getting into the AIO market. They're individually sleeved hoses, so they don't kink too easily. And everything, obviously, with the rest of Silverstone, the construction looks amazing, and we're really excited to see these come to market. So if you know Silverstone, they're known obviously for their awesome cases, and coming in from their SATA line. This is brand new to me and brand new to pretty much everybody here, is these brand new cases. They've got aluminum front panels, and the lighting for them is still there, of course. As we talked about before, we've got RGB everywhere. But I really like the way that they've implemented it here. You've got a soft glow coming from the front panel here, and these aren't handles. These are actually to show off that lighting. And you can choose between 3 colors and 3 case designs, including the new rose gold, which they're just showing off at CES today for the first time with us, at least. Also in full-size ATX, we've got the Farah line with many different front panels, and they're deciding whether or not they just want to have a modular design or ship them as is. And with a little bit of input from people coming in and out of the suite, I think they're going to find some really nice combinations with this style of case. And it wouldn't be Silverstone, though, if we didn't show off the small form factor cases, which are right over here. And of course, if you're looking for cases of all sizes, Silverstone is definitely one of the places you want to visit here at CES. And there's a reason why it's our first stop. We've got large cases, full ATX, inverted style, 90 degrees, so your air temperature is regulated by the fans going with the flow of the heat, as the Alt F1 here. And if you want something a lot smaller than that, on the opposite end of the spectrum, we've got the ML10, which is something that you might use as a system integrator, put it on the back of a monitor or a kiosk, be able to do an all-in-one style system where you throw an M.2 in there and an APU, and if you don't need an graphics card or PCI slots or whatever, similar to our mini server, this is about as small of a case as you can get, and they're also manufacturing external power supply in bricks, so you can put that in that case, and you can go all in one shop here at Silverstone for your small cases and your power supplies, of course. Right in the middle, we've got a DTX case in the SG14. Now this is something that's brand new. This should be very similar to the version that they release, and you'll be able to buy soon. It's got a 5 1/4 inch bay, although you wouldn't know it from looking at the front. It's very well hidden. Full-size ATX support and 3 expansion bay, at least expansion bay slots for a graphics card or a graphics card and a Wi-Fi adapter, something to that effect. It's got support for 240 or 120 millimeter fan on the back, and a lot of ventilation on this, top, bottom, left, right, and front. It's got ventilation as far as it needs for such a small case, something that could easily go to a LAN party, put in a duffel bag and take with you to events, and still have plenty of space to work inside of. We've got on the micro ATX side the CS330, and this is very similar to our mid-tower builds that they sent us cases for, but what it's showing off is if you need a lot of hard drive bays or you need quick bay drive swapping, they sell these adapters here. This is the mobile and treasure storage as well as the front panel storage, and it takes your 2 bay drive area in a standard case like the CS330 here and gives you 3 hot swap bays. So from 2 5 1/4 to 3 3.5 drives. You're able to put this in those 3 slots, and in this case get 5 hard drive bays out of it because they invert them vertically. So you get that extra 2 instead of just an extra 1. So really cool, and these are no caddies required. You simply slip the drive straight in, perfect for full-size hard drives. And these are straight pass-through, so there's no controller built in this, but it does have a fan to keep those drives running smoothly. And you only need 2 power adapters here for the SATA power from your power supply. So you don't need 5 power supplies and 5 SATA data cables. You just need 5 data cables and 2 power supplies, and it separates those equally among all the drives. And then lastly in our case lineup, what I jokingly said is the microwave of the bunch. This is the CS381, and it's got a number of drive bays in the front of it, of course, just like this. They're on sleds, so you can do either full-size hard drives or SSD and laptop-size drives. But you can also fit 4 or 5 internal drives as well as the ones on the outside. So you've got a huge amount of drive bay space, and with the SFX power supplies that Silverstone has here, you're going to have plenty of opportunity to have as many SATA power plugs as you need by going and pairing it with one of their own SFX power supplies. They're able to get this form factor off with so many drives because of that SFX power supply standard that they're using so much of. So it's great to see it up and used, not just in small cases, but cases that can utilize that space better than just the standard ATX power supply size. So it's pretty cool to see them thinking outside the box. How can they use these power supplies and what can they pair them to? Lastly, we're going to check out some adapters and things that they make, which are a little bit less case design, a little less power supply, but some things that you might find interesting for niche builds or even people that have desk PCs. Let's check that out. Okay, well, last but certainly not least, we've got some fairly niche sort of accessories for things that you might not think that might be useful to you at first, but the more you think about it, the more you can find use cases for a lot of this stuff, from adapters that take you from the USB 3 motherboard header to the new USB-C standard. We've got just standoff kits for motherboard mounting, Raspberry Pi cases with integrated heat sinks and port management. We've got Wi-Fi enabled on-off power and reset buttons for your motherboard, so you can have something like a smart home or Alexa or an app control to turn on your computer. This is something I could see using in our smart home series to turn on a media center and start a movie or something if I don't want to have my computer running continuously, or if it's in a room where I'm sleeping, I forgot to turn it off, but I'm comfortably under the covers. Something like this, or the car-style remote version, would be really useful for someone who wouldn't want to get out of bed after I've put the covers over my face. We've also got new RGB strips. When I first saw these, I was thinking, oh, RGB strips, we've seen these, but these are new, very thick RGB strips. They're very sturdy. They've got a white sheath over them, so you can see all the lights through them, but it sort of diffuses that light so it's not so harsh, so you could bounce it off the sides of your case, or if you're doing an all white build, these would be the ones to use, as the sheath is also all white as well. They come with magnetic slip-in strips, so you slip the strip into these magnetic holders, and then those holders clasp to the inside of your case. No wasting double-sided sticky tape or anything like that if you're transferring your strips from one part of your case to another, if it looks better, or maybe into a new case when you upgrade. That's going to pretty much cover it for Silverstone here at CES 2020. Stay tuned, as we're going to release a new video every day and see where we head up next on our adventures here at CES 2020 at San Diego LAN. And if you're interested in seeing any of the things live that we're showing off, come down to our LAN parties at sandiegolan.net. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.